Hey, what's going on, guys? Kit number 16.3 out in the Megami Device line is here as the third iteration of the AUV Susanowo. This is the AUV Susanowo Guren here with this flame motif that looks really cool, and the character has got some new aspects to her design there as well. But another really awesome version of this very cool kit. Let's go ahead and check it out for today's video. And so as usual, just to start off, we'll take a moment to admire this beautiful box art here as always, with that nice matte black finish and the image and text being here in a nice gloss there. As I always say, it gives these kits such a really nice premium feeling, just to give you guys a nice close-up look at all the details of this illustration here on the front, complete with all those markings, which we are going to have as waterside decals included with this set, which is very cool. Our text here reading for this one, Susanowo Guren, is the enhanced variation model of the flagship Megami Device Susanowo. Its appearance and specs are designed to be the counterparts to Susanowo Soen, that was the blue version previously released. A slash of the main weapon, Heat Haze, inflicts a burning status effect that lowers the opponent's defense for a certain amount of time, and aerial mobility is greatly improved through the thrust created by emissions of the optical effect generator, allowing this model to thrive as a new generation Megami Device succeeding the Asura series. Alright, very cool. And we have the same thing on the front and back of the box. On the sides of the box, the same illustration there. And the numbering, like I said, 16.3 being the third version of 16. Here on this side of the box, you can see what the kit is going to look like, built, painted, and decaled up there with all those really cool yellow heat effect parts off of it. And the unarmored version, of course. Over here, a comparison of the effects, how you'll notice one goes to one side and the other one goes to the other side there, those effect parts around the neck and head, and then a combination of the two. So yes, you can, of course, combine them for this full form, which is pretty outrageous. On the top of the box here, we got to look at our included face option parts there. We'll have 3 pre-printed faces, a bunch of waterside decals, and then there's a look at the kit completely unpainted, just built straight out of the box. Looks fantastic, along with our MSRP over here of 11,800 yen, which, as you can see, this kit is a big box with a lot of stuff in here. So not a bad MSRP considering everything that you get in this kit. And we do have quite a lot, including a lot of clear parts, a lot of gold parts here. All of this should be mostly stuff that we've seen before. Like we saw on the outside of the box there is going to be a slight difference in some of the effect parts. Mostly this is going to be just a recolor. But of course, one of the differences is also going to be here with the decals. There is our included eye decals and blushing cheek decals. We've got some in white, some in red, and some in green. And I should say the green ones are actually a kind of metallic blue-green, which look really nice when they catch the light there. So that's pretty cool. But then of course we've got our instruction manual here, which features the same illustration on the front. On the inside cover here, we got to look at one of the forms here, the sort of final form there that you can make with this, that we'll take a look at, of course, during the review portion of the video. And then over here, some other different example poses that you can see with the kit in its various forms. The next page is getting into our parts list, and then from there we're on into the construction, which it is going to be a lengthy construction for this kit. There's a lot of stuff to build, and then a lot that you can do with that stuff through the different transformation modes and everything. So we'll take a look at all of that in the review portion. Just to wrap up the manual here at the back, you can see on this page we've got our color guide right there, and also decal guide is going to show you where all those decals are going to be placed around on the kit right there. Looks awesome. Let's go ahead and check out the runners. All right, so first off, we've got our pre-printed faces here. As usual, these look really, really nice. We'll take a closer look here in the review in just a moment. And there's that clear part that goes on the chest. It's a clear orange part with some gold painted on it there. And a few more pre-printed parts here. The waist section with some gunmetal pre-printed on there, and a couple of parts here for the body in red with a little bit of gold. Getting into the runners proper, then we've got our hand parts here in red. Typical set of hands: closed fist, open resting hands, open expressive hands, holding hands, and then we've got a set of peace sign hands and pointing fingers here as well. We've got the U runner for the more substantial arm for the display base here in a clear black. And then these A and B runners here are from the Wild Hands set from Kotobukiya, which is available as a separate set, obviously not in clear orange though, so here we have them in clear orange, which look really cool. And then runners A and B are going to be all of our hair parts here in a metallic pink, which looks really nice. As you can see, we got 2 of the B runner there. Runner C is going to be all of our skin tone parts here for the kit, which is not too many, and as you can see here, it's a little bit more of a darker, more tanned skin tone complexion. Runner D, a larger runner here of some of the parts for the body in red. Runner E here, some parts in a dark gunmetal. Then we've got 2 F runners. This one is the standard Megami Device display stand here in clear black, looks very nice. And this runner is also in that dark gunmetal color that we're going to have as our accents to the red color for the main body. Runners G and H, some more red parts. Speaking of, runner G is one small runner there. Runner H, a much larger runner. We've got 2 of those. Runner I is in a little bit darker red, so we will have 2-tone red here with this. That looks nice as well. Runner J is back to that dark gunmetal. We've got 2 of these for some of the mechanical bits. And then runner K is back to our main red color there for some parts for the sword. Runners L and M are some parts here in molded gold. We have 1 runner M, a small one there, 2 of runner L. Runner N, however, is a couple more parts there in that dark red color, the darker red. We've got 2 of those. But then runner O is back to molded gold for some more parts there, primarily for the weaponry. And now getting into the bulk of our clear parts here, runner Q is in a clear orange. We've got 2 of these, and this looks really, really cool. Runner R here in a clear yellowish orange color. This is the same color that we saw for the hand parts at the beginning, which I think I said clear orange. But as you can see, in comparison to this color, clear orange is definitely more yellowish, but both colors when combined I think are going to look really, really nice. Runner S, some of our flame parts here in that clear yellow orange color there. And runner S2 we have 2 of for some more of those flame effect parts. And then even more here on the T runner as well. We've got 2 of this T runner. This is in a slightly softer plastic for these clear parts too, I will say. It's not exactly like a polycap material or something like that, but it's a little bit softer. So if you were worried about having to deal with this many clear parts, they should work out just fine. For runner U here, we've got 2 of these for some more parts in molded gold. Runner V and W, a few more parts here in red. Runner X1, we've got 2 of these for some more parts in dark red. Runner X2, some more pieces here in gold, 2 of those. And finally, last but not least, runner Z here in red for a few connection bits, and that's it. So a lot of parts, a lot of stuff to put together. Let me go ahead and do that, and we'll see how she looks. Alright guys, here's the kit all built up, and it's been a little while since the unboxing of this kit, but I do have it all built up now, and we're going to be checking it out here for the review portion of the video. Obviously, as we're seeing it now, this is just in the base form body without anything added to it. We'll take a look at all the different option parts that we have, including all the stuff that we are going to be adding to the body to create the fully armored form, and then the different modes and things that you can do with that. There's a whole lot packed into this kit, so there's a lot to go over. Let's go ahead and get it right into it. Alright, so first of all, we have our display stand here. It's a typical Megami Device display stand. This is just the smaller of the display arms that we have for this. You do also have the more substantial display arm, which will be useful for especially once you're displaying this in the larger modes with everything else attached onto there. Then we got our different face option parts, which as usual, the painting on these looks really, really nice. Some beautiful colors and really nice detail on those. There's our first 2 face option parts. Third one here, I've got on our different heads. So as you can see, you can basically swap the entirety of the head depending on the different mode that you want to go for with this. And some nice, really expressive faces that we have for this one. Sticking with the head, then you do also have this mask part here, which basically you're going to swap this part of the bangs there at the front for this part for the brutal mode. Moving down then to the torso, for the chest, you're going to swap out this part for the different modes. It gives you a different color collar and a different chest piece there with that pre-printed part of that clear part with the gold on that. So this will be used for our alternative modes there. We've got this set of armor pieces here, which is going to fit around the waist section. It gives you this kind of long tail there out the back side and this really cool little detail there on the front. You do have extras of those little flower looking parts there, right there, just because it's a small little fragile piece. You have a couple of extras on the runner just in case if you break or lose one, so definitely hang on to those. Then we've got the backpack connection system, which is a whole bunch of different connection parts all connected together here. This will fit into the back right there like that, and this is what we're going to basically connect everything onto there. For the arms, we're going to swap out the arm from that clear orange ring right there. down for the mechanical arms here like this, which have a number of different hard points on there. I'm gonna add parts like this here onto like the wrist section, a nice combination of the gold and gunmetal and clear orange. This flame effect part here, for example, is gonna be added at the top of the arm there. If you wanted to customize, we've got parts like this part here, which is just gonna fit at that ring in the bicep and give you a hard point if you wanted to connect something else onto there, or you want to mix and match the parts around a little bit. Then we've got this main large armor section here, which is going to be attached onto the side of the arm. Just depending on the mode, again, it'll attach in different ways. This part up here, these parts also become the claws for the brutal mode. As you can see, it basically becomes like a thumb, and then fingers here for the brutal mode there to have these big massive claw arms. For the hands, then we've got a bunch of different hand option parts of 2 different types. We've got our regular red hands here, where you've got these fixed wrist and trigger finger extended weapon holding hands here like that for the left and the right side. We also got our closed fists there, of course, and open expressive hands like that. We've also got just regular open resting hands and peace sign hands like this for doing some more fun expressions. We got pointing fingers here as well, and then some more weapon holding hands here just without the fixed wrist and without the trigger finger extended on those. You do also have an option for those that does have the fixed wrist on there. If you're holding a particularly heavy weapon, you may want to use those. And for the different modes here, you do also have these alternative hands, which are just the Kotobukiya wild hands, I believe these are. But in this case, they're just molded in that clear orange. You've got a set of open hands like that, and a set of like open kind of claw hands here, which look really cool. You've got a set of closed fists here as well, and then a set of weapon holding hands, which feature a little bit of a bent wrist there for the connection for those. So these are particularly good for like holding rifles or just weaponry if you're holding it at an angle. For the legs then, just like with the arms, you're just going to remove the leg here just below that clear reddish orange ring. And you're going to replace that with this just mechanical leg. And you can keep it in that form like that with just like the simple mechanical arm and simple mechanical leg, and it's actually kind of cool like that. But then we've got a bunch of different parts that we're going to add and swap on here. Like these are the parts here for the feet, for example, or some of the parts for the feet, I should say. Actually, it's a combination of these parts here, which gives you this nice like a clear part there for like the spike at the front of the toe there, making these like really cool high heels. And these parts fold down and these parts fold up. Again, for the different modes, there's different ways that we're going to be transforming those parts. For the feet, we're going to be adding parts like this armor part here onto the front of the leg there, for example, and other sections of armor here onto the thigh there as well, into the front and on the side of the thigh, which look really cool. But then again, if you wanted to customize this, you do have a clear part with just a hard point on the side for attaching up there at the top of the thigh if you wanted to use that one as well. Moving on to the rest of our equipment then, here is the ring part, which is going to attach onto the back. Looks super cool there with the red, gold, and the clear effect parts on there, looking really, really nice there, of course. So this is going to also be used in a couple of different ways, kind of just depending on the mode. But these parts here at the top, for example, can kind of like open up like that. And so you're basically just like moving and swapping parts around, just kind of depending on the mode. And then for our main weapon here, the Heat Haze sword looks awesome there like that. You do also have a couple of smaller swords, which are just very simple here with a couple of gold and flame effect parts there for those, but those are really cool as well. But the main star of the show definitely going to be this big boy, which, as you can see, like compared to the size of the kit itself, is going to be quite large. Then you can also unfold and extend these parts out to make it like a whip sword. And we have a number of different articulation points there for that, but that's pretty awesome as well. But then the other thing that we can do with this is actually remove this, basically separate it into 2 parts, where this then just becomes basically like a heat axe there. So you can use this in hand as just like an axe weapon. And this part, we can use this alternative handle to turn this into a sort of rifle weapon by connecting this into here like that. We fold that up like that to make this into a rifle weapon there. So the main weapon can split into 2 separate weapons like this as well. So it's pretty awesome. And to help with stability for the large weapon, you also have these connection parts which will connect from the weapon into the forearm, kind of bypassing the hand, just to make sure that you'll have that added stability that might be needed for wielding the very large weaponry that this has. Now, on a real quick note, just kind of about the base body, the construction of the kit is really nice. If you've built any of the other versions of the Susanowo, it's obviously going to be very similar. If you've built any other Megami Device kits, It's going to be very similar. You will have a couple of seam lines here and there, but some really nice points of articulation with the double joints in the knee, single joint in the elbow, but you're able to get a nice full bend there, and a double joint in the body with you having a joint kind of at the bottom between the middle section and the waist, and then between the chest and the midsection here as well. You've got points of articulation. So the posability on these kits is really, really nice. And for this one in particular, it's really just a matter of all the different modes and parts that you have with this. So let's go ahead and get into that part. So yeah, just from starting out from the normal mode, by adding the AUV frame or the Excel Unleashed Vanguard frame parts, that'd be like just the robotic arms and legs that you swap onto it. Then you can make the armored mode. And from the armored mode, you can make it into the vigilance mode. And the vigilance mode is just kind of like the standard mode, which you kind of see of this kind of typically. And then from vigilance mode, then you can go to insane mode, which is just kind of like all the parts, sort of like a, I don't know if Super Saiyan's maybe the right analogy there for that, but sort of like the super version of just kind of like the standard mode, like what we see on the box art, for example, is just like the vigilance mode. Insane mode is just kind of moving some parts around and opening some stuff up like that. And then you go to brutal mode, which is sort of where you have the mask and you have the arm parts turned into claws there on it, and that's where it kind of gets a little bit over the top for me. I'm not really a huge fan of the brutal mode necessarily, but either the vigilance mode or the insane mode are definitely pretty awesome here as a way to just kind of fully display the kit. But there's so much in this kit, and I'm going to be able to show you a number of different ways to display it here, as we're just kind of like swapping between the different modes, just to kind of to show you guys some different options with this. But that's the main thing with these Megami Device kits in general. It's something I always talk about with these, is that the great thing is you get a really nice like core body in there, and then a lot of parts that you can build it kind of as is directed by the instructions, but you don't necessarily have to. You can swap parts around, and you get a lot of material in one box for customizing the kit as you might like. But with this one in particular, like with the AUV Susanowo and the Soen version, which is like just the blue version of this kit, the really great thing about these larger sets is that you just have so much in there for customizing this as you might like. So you might like to just keep the legs, for example, like in like the insane mode, but you might want to keep like the top half of the body maybe just in normal mode or something. Anyway, there's a lot of different options. You can move parts around, you can have different weapon options there between the set of smaller swords that we have and then our large sword, keeping that as a sword or just as a whip sword, or you can separate that into the axe and the rifle. And then you can also have those big parts of the ring on the back can be separated. You could use those as like kind of like scythe, sickle sort of weapons. So there's just a lot that you can do with these kits. So they're expensive, but definitely well worth the price just because you get so much in there. Not to mention you do also have the water slides, of course, which you could add to this to make it look even that much better. I do plan on adding the water slides to this before putting it into our display here at USA Gundam Store in the store. So if you guys are ever here, you might see it in there next to the Soen form, which the two of them make for a really impressive pair of kits for sure. So yeah, if you want to check out the kit for yourself, check out the link in the video description to the USA Gundam Store website there. You can check it out along with the other different versions of this kit and other different Megami Device kits. Lots of great stuff there on the website from Kotobukiya. So check that out. And let me know if you guys do have any other further questions or comments about this kit. I'm sorry the review was kind of a long time coming on this one, but as you can see with a kit like this, there's kind of a lot to cover with it. So I'm able to show you a number of the different modes and like different poses in the different modes, but obviously there's a lot more that you could do with this kit than what I could show you in just one video. So hope that you guys found the review helpful and informative. If you did, make sure to leave a like. If you're not subscribed yet, make sure to subscribe. I really appreciate all your guys' support. Thank you so much, guys. Until next time, hope you all are having a great day. See y'all later. Bye-bye.